Look, you were in your 30s. This is the thing about endometriosis. It can take a wee while to get diagnosed, can't it? Because the symptoms can be quite confusing and oftentimes it takes a while, and that's kind of...
As you said, it's really complicated. Yeah. It can take 7.5 years to get a formal diagnosis from a GP. A lot of GPs are still learning about this condition as well. But it's extraordinary because, as you said, 1 in 10 women suffer from it. It costs the UK economy more than £8 billion a year.
Wow.
Women also are suffering financially because they're not being diagnosed. They're losing out at work. They're taking sick leave. They're not being paid. It can cost from the moment of through the whole process of diagnosis. It can cost £40,000
wow.
in lost pay as well. So it's the financial impact is great on all of us,
sure.
But obviously the emotional impact is there as well because it is very complicated. Your symptoms can range from... My symptoms were, I just thought I had quite very heavy periods, bit of pain that I was dealing with on a monthly basis and a bit moody. What we're taught about as girls that you do, as women that you deal with every month. I never had debilitating symptoms, but the debilitating symptoms are severe pain, severe bleeding, you can't move, you're very depressed. There are young girls as young as 21 who are having to have hysterectomies. So it is very important that we discuss it more, and I think there's a bit of an embarrassment as well. It's women's issues. You know what it's like, periods.
Yeah.
So endometriosis is what it is exactly. The endometrial lining inside the womb grows where it shouldn't, outside of the womb. So it grows over the ovaries, it can grow around the bowel, everywhere that it shouldn't, and that causes this great discomfort, and that's what causes the pain and the bleeding. If people at work don't know what you're going through, if your boss doesn't know what you're going through, if you can't have a diagnosis, you can see how that leads to all sorts of problems.
Absolutely.
I was in my 30s. I didn't know that I had anything wrong. In my 30s, I was single. I wanted to know if I could still have children, basically.
Sure,
I was worried about my fertility.
Yep.
So I went to for a well woman checkup, and this was a specialist clinic, so they knew the sorts of things they were looking for. So I was identified actually quite quickly once I was there. And then I was in my 30s, and one of the main impacts of endometriosis could be it can impact your fertility and you can't have children. Obviously, if you have to have a hysterectomy sometimes, or if something's happening around your ovaries, that was the sort of the main concern for me. So I was thrilled when Standard Life put the money behind this campaign to really fund Endometriosis UK, which is one of the charities that helps support women, because it gets it out there. We're talking about it.
It does. And Rankin, the photographer, who is the coolest thing on the planet, probably, apart from will.i.am, who's on soon.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's brilliant. He's been doing photographs. And
yeah, I mean, you've probably had your photograph taken by Rankin.
I remember years ago I did, with no makeup on, and he was...
Yes, I did the same. I did that as well. So this was the first time I had it was with no makeup, and the second time it was for endometriosis. So not a glamorous, but
it's great.
He's a great photographer, and he's added a real lustre to this campaign as well, because he's reaching new people. Interestingly, I mean, when we were talking in the studio, he photographed lots of wonderful women. The women that have taken part in this campaign are women who are suffering all sorts of different ranges and stories. So mums and daughters who are suffering at the same time. A mum having to be with her daughter who's going through, very, very serious complications. A young lady who's in a gay relationship saying the doctor told her, well, it doesn't matter because you don't want to have children.
Oh,
so
and what a thing to say.
Another lady who went through this had an operation, which I went through. Laparoscopy is something that you can do. General anaesthetic, big operation. You can suffer from a perforated bowel, all sorts of things can go wrong. This young woman took her 20 days sick leave, came back, and her female boss wrote in the sort of the reason box why she was off, said tummy ache. So there's a lot of negativity around this, and a lot of misunderstanding. And Rankin didn't know about it, and now he does.
And now he does, and he's spreading the word, which is fantastic. In your case, though, you had your miracle baby at 40.
Yes.
And then you had miracle twins.
Well, they were miracle twins after like 5 rounds of IVF. But I don't think that was the endometriosis. I mean, I was old. I was an old mum anyway. had my first boy at 40, as you know, and then yes, my gorgeous girls. I managed to have at 43 after 5 rounds of IVF. But it was definitely, my age and the endometriosis was certainly a couple of the reasons. Oh, that's a lovely pic taken by a gorgeous photographer.
Lovely.
On holiday.
Oh, it's really nice.
Having some time out.
Because you're away a lot, but your relationship with your husband, you're both. This is the thing about when they go on about defining different roles. You're both just parents. Yes. And parents should be the same responsibilities. Yeah, and if one goes away, the other one takes. That's what happens with us.
I mean, that's what's happened for you. I'm very lucky. He's a fantastic daddy, a very understanding understanding daddy. And yes, when I'm not there and can't do bedtime and bath time, which is often because of...
Well, he's there.
He's there,
That's
and
okay.
he's fantastic.
But people don't call out men for that, the way that they call out women for it.
And they never ask men, what do you do about your childcare? They never ask men, how do you feel when you leave your children? Yeah.
I always ask actors, I say, so how do you juggle with the childcare? And sometimes they give me a really brilliant answer, and then sometimes they look at me utterly baffled.
Yeah, why are you asking this?
Yeah, exactly. But that's the way it should be. I think it's brilliant that you're flying the flag for this.
Thank you very much. Important. No, it's a very, very important campaign. And if you haven't heard about it, Google it, find out a bit more, because 1 in 10 women, this is a global problem as well. It's happening all over the world. It's not just the fertility, it's general health, it's the finances, it's everything. It's a big issue for us all to talk about.